And if everyone will stand, I've asked Dr. Bradley Cobb to give us the invocation today.
Lord, we come to you and ask for your wisdom in everything we do here as a body. We ask that you watch over our soldiers and their families wherever they are in the world. We ask that you watch over the United States government and especially those in Washington tackling some tough questions at this time. Please watch over us and our families. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Dr. Cobb. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Jack Baker. Kara Callahan.
Ahani.
Bill England.
Here.
Bill John Baker.
Here.
Carly Buzzard.
Here.
Julia Coates.
Here.
Bradley Cobb. Joe Crittenden.
Here.
Jody Fishinghawk. Meredith Brayley. Janelle Fulbright. Don Garvin. Chuck Hoskin Jr.
Here.
Hannah Gloria Jordan.
Present.
Curtis Snell.
Here.
Chris Stowe.
Here.
David Thornton.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. And a quorum has been declared. Do I hear a motion for the approval of the August 28, 2008 regular session? And a second from Councilman Garvin. Motion made by Councilman Cobb. Are there any suggested changes? No suggested changes. Hearing none. All those in favor is approving the minutes as written, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. The minutes are approved as written unanimously. We go on to reports. Ms. Callie Ketcher, the treasurer's report for the tribe, and if you'll just keep your remarks brief, anything that maybe not be provided in writing already. So
I think I can do that. You have my written report. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them.
Do you want to have any questions? Yes, Councilwoman
I
Fisher-Hall.
asked for the cost of the landfill over this past year's budget cycle. Last month I'm reading it in minutes.
Yes, and I apologize I didn't get the written report over, but I did run a trial balance before I came over here. We are sitting at 1.23 million expended out of a 1.266 budget.
And that's for that little account that you charged off that you're going to use in the lawsuit that's included in here?
Yes.
Councilwoman, did you have any additional questions?
No.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for Ms. Ketcher? Hearing none, we appreciate your time with us today.
Thank you.
Mr. David Stewart, CEO of Cherokee Nation Enterprises, would you like to give us some brief highlights?
It would be very brief. Thank you. Reporting for August, and we had a great month. The bottom line was about $12 million, and earnings before depreciation was about 17. We had a couple of things happen in the month. We wrote down the building in West Siloam because we're going to tear it down and we're going to build a new one, so you have to write that off the books. So that's how we got from the 17 and then plus the normal depreciation. Our year-to-date income is $111 million, so we're tracking right on target with budget. The board our board of directors approved our budget for 09, so that is complete. I think Callie, C&B has received that, so they're plugging that into the overall picture. Our cash on hand is very strong, a little over $100 million. So we will be expending that as we go in construction. We had the job fair for West Siloam was very successful. I think we hired around 200 people out of that job fair, so that was good.
Mr. Stewart, was that 200 people or 200 Cherokee?
Sure. Well, they were Native American.
Native American.
Yes. So it's a very good result. So I appreciate all the help with getting people there.
I'm sorry. I missed the percentage. What did you say on the Cherokee?
Well, this was all. I don't know the percentage, but this was for a Native American only job fair. So we hired around 200 people out of that. So our staff just did a great job on that, and I appreciate all of your help to get anyone that you know there.
How many are we hiring up there?
I think it's going to be between 350 and 400. So our percentage right now is in the, I believe it's in the mid 60s, So we're going to try to keep that percentage. It looks good so far. So I'm very pleased that we can maintain that through this growth. Catoosa is scheduled to open December 15th with West Siloam November 10th. And we're holding with those schedules, so everything is in target. And I would encourage you to go out and look at the property. It's fantastic. We're very proud of it. So if you get a chance, we'll give you a tour so you can see it before everybody gets in there. It's kind of a fun thing to do. So that's my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions for Mr. Stewart? Yes, Councilman Fishing Hall.
We hired 250 out of the possible 350 or 400.
Well, 200. I think the number was 200.
Out of the possible 350 or 400.
Yes.
So we hired less of percentage than we have percentage that we're working for us now.
That's right. And we have another, we have another till November the 10th. So this was just our first one. In fact, we're probably going to, I think we had 5 scheduled, so we probably won't need to have 5, but we're going to keep having them until we get these percentages. We're not just stopping here, so that's not going to be indicative of the final at all. Yeah, I'm just saying that's extremely good for us to get that on the first round.
Councilwoman, did you have any additional questions? No. Councilman Soap?
Yeah, Mr. Stewart, in your report you talked about cutting back on some expenses to improve the operating budget. What type of expenses, without going into too much detail, exactness, I guess, what are the type of expenses that the group's focusing on? Well,
what we did 9 months ago is I had some inclination that the market was going to be, soft, and there were going to be some issues. So we started at all the departments and the properties looking at not only just our operating expenses, but also our number of employees. And if you'll notice, our employee count was about 3,200, and I think we were down around 3,100. So we just didn't hire anybody. We were very careful about putting additional staff on, which combined with the health care costs and all that compounds to be a pretty good number. Also, we delayed some of our marketing for, 3 or 4 months. And that ended up to be a good decision. So I would say that it's just throughout the organization that we looked at just about everything.
Are there any additional questions for Mr. Stewart? Thank you, Mr. Stewart. We'd like to acknowledge Mr. Sean Slayton and Ms. Gina Lyon. Thank you for your presence representing CNE. Now we have Mr. Dennis McLemore, Cherokee Nation Industries. Did you have any brief highlights for us, Mr. McLemore?
My reports and what you've received, and Mr. Warstep went over our results for August, which is in that book, so if you have any questions. Okay,
and Councilwoman Fraley?
I just want to congratulate the employees out in the leadership out there on that lean manufacturing award, I guess it's called, for improving efficiencies in your manufacturing processes.
It's been a long time coming, and we're hoping to see the results fairly soon, because it's helping the report. It's still, we've got a way to go in the manufacturing area, but this will be a step forward.
Congratulations.
Are there any additional questions? Councilor Fraley, were you done? Yes. Are there any? Okay, thank you. Were there any other questions? Thank you, Mr. McLemore. We appreciate your time here with us today.
Thank you.
Mr. Carson, Cherokee Nation Businesses.
I don't have a written report, but to give just a brief overview of the financial position on a consolidated basis. And I've tried to talk to folks informally about a couple of developments at C&B. If I haven't had a chance to do that already before the meeting started, if you're sticking around a little afterwards, I will try to catch you if I could have that opportunity. On a consolidated basis, picking up on what Mr. Stewart was saying, for the month of August, the last month for which we have consolidated numbers across all the entities, C&B, CNI, CNE, CSG, and other companies like that, the combined income of those entities was substantially ahead of budget at about $11.7 million. which makes it for the year to date about $107 million across all of those entities in net income. Of course, cash flow is more than that. On a consolidated basis, the asset value is continuing to increase, and we now have combined assets of about $435 million as well. I'd be happy to answer any questions about any of the projects we work on at C&B, from the landfill and other matters. I know brevity is the order of the day, so with that, I'll conclude.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, we appreciate your time with us, Mr. Carson. Please do visit with him before you leave today if you have not already. Now, Ms. Kelly, Career Services and Employment. Any brief highlights would be appreciated. Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Kelly?
Yeah, Jody.
How's your fall summer youth employment program, how extended is it, Diane?
Well, you guys just passed the budget the other night. We haven't gotten a chance to do anything yet, but we've got counselors that are working on it. There's several people that have heard about it, and they came in thanks to your article. Adair County heard about it. I don't know about the other counties, but I do know that Barbara told me that there had been some come in that had requested extensions, and so they're working on it. We don't know how many yet because we haven't actually got our budget fixed up yet, but we will have here in the next few days. The big thing I really want to talk about was the highlight last Tuesday. Al Drinkwater called us and told us that all the grants, or all the permits, had been granted by the state of Oklahoma for AERT, and we've worked on that project for about 2 years. And they've actually started moving some dirt around up there. Construction will start next week, and their timeline is to have the thing up and operating by April of '09. And they're looking at 125 people and eventually up to 250, and they're real excited about it. And we're excited because we're going to be the point for filtering all the referrals through there. So we'll be working with staff to go up and help take applications. We're working with the state to get them here on the days that we're doing this so they can obtain the tax credits for employment.
Okay, Councilor Fishing-Hawk, did you have any other questions? Were you done? Councilor Soap, you had a question for Ms. Kelly?
So what colors will you be sporting tomorrow at the football game?
What?
So what colors will you be sporting at the tomorrow at the football game?
Well, our footballs are black.
Yeah. You personally, I know Meredith was making a comment that you had the red and black on already, so she was showing preference there.
I wear red and black a lot, Chris.
She was saying you were showing preference.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else?
Seeing no further questions, thank you, Ms. Kelly. Ms. Knight, Ms. Anna Knight for Commerce.
Good afternoon. You guys have a copy of my report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Are there any questions for Ms. Knight? Mr. Soap.
I have a question about the NAP assistance program. Who is over the inspectors for that program? Is that the housing? Or do you have any interactions with that group, or do you get any feedback from those inspections that take place?
It's David Sutherland's over the inspectors, and the only feedback we get is
Thumbs up or down?
right.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Seeing no other questions, we appreciate your time, Ms. Knight. Oh, Councilor Fishing-Hawk.
Yeah, I asked you one time about telling us how many jobs that you create through your own Department for Jobs were created for Cherokee. Am I missing that on your reports, or?
No, we don't have that. What you did ask me that, and I will have her break it out. We had to start gathering the data at the point that you asked, and I'll make sure the breakout's on the report next month.
Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Knight. Ms. Lori Jordan.
Did you ever give us a list of any loans that were, or maybe I need to reform the question. Will you, at a point when you are beginning to write off loans as bad debts, provide us with a list of those and the amounts?
Of the loans and the individual loans?
Yes, surely they don't have an expectation of privacy if they're fixing to default with us. Can you provide such a list to us on a regular basis? As regular as your...
As we write them off?
Right.
Yes.
Any other questions? Thank you. We appreciate your time. We're now on consent items. You have before you the cemetery restoration assistance applications. I believe there's applications from Trail of Tears, Mays County, and one other. Well, I thought we already had this passed out.
We do. Madam Chair, this packet that's coming out to you now is an updated packet. Each consent list had a slight change. So I just packaged all the consent items up and put them together there for you, starting with cemetery and in the order of your agenda. There was one item added to it for cemeteries. You'll notice at the bottom of Proctor Sanders Community Cemetery and Trail of Tears District. That's the only addition to the list as previously submitted.
Do I hear a motion to approve the new cemetery application? Councilor Fishinghawk, and then seconded by Councilor Garvin. Are there any concerns, questions, additions, deletions? Hearing none, seeing none, I'm going to call for the question. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Those items consent unanimously. Now on to tarot certifications, and you should have those in front of you as well. They're in your packet, I believe. So do I have a motion to consent as provided? It is the last item in your packet. The only thing that I see is that T&D Construction does not have a tribe associated with it, which has been a concern. Oh, never mind, it's there, it's just on the next page. So all tribes are designated. There's none for denial that I can see. Mr. Embry, did you have a concern?
Yes, just to make sure that the committee's all clear on this, that in here says vendors recommended for approval. I take it the ones that say denied are not to be approved by this committee.
Correct.
Correct?
Correct.
Okay. So just want to make that clear. Yeah, they are not. All ones that stated denied or pending are not going to be approved. Even though it says vendors recommended for approval. I think the motion should be to approve all those designated for approval.
And I just heard that till John Baker made that motion. I heard the second from Councilor Crittenden. Are all minds clear? Okay, they've been in your books that were mailed to you, so I'm going to call for the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. We have all approved vendors. We've concurred. Now for law enforcement requests.
Madam Chair, there were 3 law enforcement assistants this month. Stillwell Police Department, $6,500, Mr. Crittenden. Adair County Sheriff, $8,000, Mr. Crittenden. And Westville Police Department, Mr. Crittenden, $4,539.37 to use up the balance, and $4,039.37. Mr. Fishinghawk will leave $5,000 balance carry over into next year, and Mr. Cobb will carry over his apportionment into the next year.
Are all minds clear? Do I hear a motion to approve? Motion from Councilman Bill John Baker and the second from Councilor Thornton. So all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed, same sign. Those are approved unanimously. Community assistance, please, Mr. Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's one change on this report that came in right when the meeting was beginning, and that is there was actually a denial by one listed on page 4 of this report that has all the yellow on it. There was Leach Schools, $500, the 4th row down in yellow will go from $500 to $750, both Mr. Snell and Mr. Buzzard, and the $250 down 5 rows below that for Cleora Elementary will go away. That was turned down. And all counselors have utilized, obligated all their available balances.
Are all lines clear? Yes, Counselor.
I have a question on where the red boxes are at.
Yes.
Like, you've got everything checked, requested, received, submitted, everything's checked there, and then there's a red box. Does that mean the check hadn't been sent out?
Okay, the red box is indicative of where this particular payment is in its process. If it has been requested, Gail sent the paperwork to them. If the red is in the received, we're waiting on it to come back from them. If the red is in the submitted, we have requested and received it, and we're just getting ready to submit it to accounting. Okay? And if the red is in paid, all the paperwork's done, we're waiting on the next check run.
Mr. Evans, to make sure that all minds are clear on this committee, if they have a red box in one of their items, they need to work with you today before they leave to make sure that payment's made out of this budget this year, right? And it's cleared before the end of the fiscal year?
Yes, especially in the first two columns. In the first two columns of either requested or received. If we've requested the information by the party and we've received it back from them, we don't need anything from counselors. It's all in our queue right now.
Okay, so just to make sure, this is what I heard from you. If I have an item that has been designated for general assistance and I have a red box in the first or second column at the end, then I will need to work with Mr. Evans and Gail Miller to determine if paperwork is outstanding. Because I'm likely going to have to follow up with that group that has requested money to make sure they turn in the paperwork this week in order to meet fiscal year-end deadlines for issuing checks. Okay, and if Mr. Evans is shaking his head yes, so are we all clear that we need to check over our general assistance to make sure those funds are being expended? Yes, Counselor.
If they should decline the money, for whatever reason, I can't imagine, but let's say they do decline the money, we're out of luck after this meeting on refocusing that money somewhere else?
That is correct.
We have no other opportunity to come together as a body to grant consent to an alternate recipient.
If the body is in concurrence, I would like to table this till the end of the meeting to give some folks a chance to step out and make some phone calls. But we will continue this meeting. So if no one is opposed, we're going to table this till the end of the meeting. So hold on the community assistance spot. We're going to go on to roads.
There is an amended road report as well that was a slight amendment to the original submission. This month we have a few roads and some cleanup activities going on. The Motor Fuel Fund has 4 projects in it. Mr. Snell and Mr. Buzzard are contributing almost $31,000 to the Brush Creek Pine Knot Road project, and Mr. Snell, that will deplete your motor fuel allocation for this year. Mr. Hoskin has 3 projects. Road number 110, Paw Paw Creek project for $11,051. And a couple of amended items, South 4430 Road Repair Project for $5,000, and then Mr. Hoskins' balance of $13,630 for the East 240 Road Project. The motor vehicle tax merely has an accounting adjustment pursuant to a final payment that came in $20 under the original estimate. And then the special bridge funding, there was 4 adjustments to final payment amounts. As you can see there, those negative numbers are actually being added back into each allocation. So they're not shown as a utilization of funds like they normally are as a positive number. They're negative, but they do get added back. And then also special bridge funding to assist the Paw Paw Creek project in District 9 as well for $39.49. And Mr. Hoskin, that will deplete your special bridge funding for this year. And that completes the meeting.
Thank you. Are all minds clear? Do we have any additions or concerns? I entertain a motion to approve as presented.
So moved.
Do I hear a second? So a motion's been made by Councilor Crittenden and seconded by Councilor Snell to approve the roads projects as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously. Again, community assistance is tabled to the end of the meeting. This time we have old business, that being the district community meetings. Mr. Hembry, did you have something to present for us on this issue?
No, I do not, other than, what was originally presented, and there was a letter from the chief taking issues with some instances of it. I have not got any feedback from any counselors. My recommendation is to pass the policy as it stands. It was broad and gave assurances that it wouldn't be used for political purposes and it'd be a communication device. So I got no feedback from either any counselors or the executive.
What are the wishes of the body?
Move to table one more month so that I can...
Councilman Baker has made a motion to table in 1 month, and did I hear a second from Councilor Hopkins? So all those in favor of tabling for 1 month, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Passed unanimously to table for 1 month. And so we will have that legislation again in the packet next month for you to consider. There is no new business, and so we come to the end where we need to come back to community assistance. I believe there is not a motion on the table, so I'd entertain a motion at this time. Councilwoman?
Do we need to do the motion and then amend, or can we?
You can amend at the same time you make your motion.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion that we pass this with this exception. Grandview Schools, 500 from myself and Bill John each, will be redirected to the Indian Education Program at Tahlequah Middle School.
Okay, so
Page 3.
executive second?
Second.
Okay, so Councilwoman Glory Jordan, made the motion to approve with the amendment that the 500 each, so 1,000 total for Grandview Schools, actually goes to Tahlequah Middle School Indian Education Program. And that was seconded by Councilman Bill John Baker. Are all minds clear? Do I hear any other motions or amendments? Yes, Councilman Baker.
Folks, if you've got anybody in the first or second deal, you might want to take it to the recess, because if they don't turn the paperwork in, it's gone. And you can't redirect later, you can't do anything. And this is money to our community.
Yes, Mr. Evans.
Would you like me to bring Ms. Miller in, that maybe will shed light on some particular questions that may come up that you may have, that you're noticing some red in the first two columns? You may be able to shed a little light.
I have one, and I don't have a concern. Is there people that have questions for Ms. Miller at this time?
I've got all mine taken care of.
Okay, so hearing none, I'd like to call for the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. We have passed, and this budget will close. Thank you, Mr. Evans, for all your work, and thank Ms. Miller as well.
Okay.
Okay, so going back, we had no new business, of course. Are there any announcements? Yes, Madam Speaker.
It's not an announcement, Madam Chair, but first some of us have talked about this generator that you need at home. And I'm not sure where that stands. It's not on the agenda, so can we carry that forward?
If no one objects in the body, then we go, because I'd like to limit it to the next 5 or so minutes, so.
If we can.
4 hours before.
What?
I said it's 4 hours before.
But I'm not sure where that stands. Can we dialogue here, Curtis? What do you want to do with that? I mean, we've got winter coming up before too long, and I know what you suffered last winter, so it's on the books to be paid, but it hasn't been paid. Am I understanding that correctly?
I don't believe the check's been cut. When I looked at it last week, the check was not
But it's
cut.
in the 2008 budget, right?
Yeah, this is kind of a, it is, 2008. It will expire.
Does that just carry over, or what happens to it?
It expires. Did Todd Inlow contact you at all about that?
He contacted me way back,
Okay.
but, there was never no action taken, we just talked.
I will make it my personal priority to get that resolved one way or another tomorrow.
Okay, so to resolve this issue, I just want to make sure it's clear, Mr. Evans and Ms. Ketcher, the money is on the books, and there is
It's in
no
the budget.
reason why it will not be expended before the end of this fiscal year to supply that generator for Oaks, right?
I've got to talk to the people who know how long it takes to get a generator delivered. The rule is the goods or services have to be performed by 9:30 for it to go in this fiscal year. How much is the...
$4,000 check.
Okay.
But we don't buy the generator. This is a contribution.
So is it just a contribution to Oaks Community Center? Okay. Then we can just do a check request to Oaks Community Center designated for the generator, if that's the answer. Okay.
Hold on just one moment. We're going to, okay. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Evans, so you're assuring us that you will work with Callie in her office to get that check distributed to the Oaks community for the generator?
Yes.
Okay. Speaker Fraley, were you clear on that? I mean, did that resolve?
Ma'am, I
Okay.
understand it.
No, I'm just
I just
asking.
want to make sure Mr. Curtis that's what he wants to do. It's not me, it's Mr. Snell.
Yes.
Okay, so did you have any other issues before? Okay, so then I had Ms. Fulbright, Mr. Bill John Baker, Mr. Crittenden, and then Mr. Soap, and then Mr. Cobb. Janelle?
Yes.
Councilor Fulbright?
I was asleep at the wheel when we were on this. I've got one over here, a red one in the first block. Yes.
That's taken care of. I've already got a hold of them, they're getting it in. So you're good to go.
Well, listen, that was a big mistake. I was only supposed to give them $1,000. They already got it, remember?
Marble City?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about that when we get out here. 'Cause I haven't paid them yet.
Okay.
Hold on. That means we have to resolve it in this meeting. If it is going to be redirected to another group, we need to know at this time.
Okay.
And if there is no objections from this body, we are going to put this back on the table to address Janelle's money. Councilor Fulbright, where would you like, is it $1,000?
Well,
Marble City?
And she's supposed to check. I was giving them $1,000. And when I was up here last month, she said that both people, what they did, I gave him the forms, and he said he was the president, and he waited like 6 months. And they called me and said they had a new president. He had never turned it in, so I gave them to the new lady. Well, then they told me that both of them turned them in, and the checks had already been cut, and they got $2,000. They were only supposed to get one. And there was nothing I could do about it, but evidently that's not right.
Okay, so she's going to bring information back. We're going to hold, if you don't mind, I'm going to go on. So Councilman Bill John Baker.
My question's been answered, thank you.
Okay. Councilman Crittenden.
I think mine has too. What I was going to suggest was if they had bought some generators and had them in the storehouse somewhere, maybe we could just slide by there and get Curtis's generator, leave them a note, take it up there and put it in. Just a copy.
Thank you, Mr. Councilman Crittenden. Councilman Soap.
It's my recollection that when the last time we had this discussion, is that the chief advised Councilor Snell that they were going to come by the community building and do some type of wiring or whatnot so that the existing generators can be utilized. That's the last plan that I recall being discussed. Whether or not it was agreed upon or whether or not it's, to me, that's between them, but that's what I recall the plan of action was to just rewire the community center to accept the existing generators that are in the buildings that Councilman Crittenden referred to. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Soap. Dr. Cobb.
I want to make sure that Councilor Buzzard and Councilor Snell look at page 4, the last entry in community assistance under my name. Please make sure that that's used for that. Thank you. Get with Mr. Evans and make sure that's used for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we've lost folks. Mr. Evans, can you check, because we need to still resolve Ms. Full, before we can adjourn, we need to resolve
I just went down Ms. Fulbright's column, and I only see Marble City Nutrition Center in there one time, close to the bottom of page 1. And she's referring to a duplicate payment, I understood, of another $1,000. But it's Marble City Cherokee organization. Maybe those are two, one and
She was saying that the amount was doubled. The actual amount.
Well, and the point is, if the checks are already issued and cut in cash, there's really no, I'm not sure what we can do about that.
While we're waiting on Councilwoman Fulbright, we've got Councilman Jack Baker now online. Councilman Baker, did you have anything on your community assistance or anything?
Can't hear you.
Hold on, we're having technical difficulties. Try again. See if you can.
Okay. Speak, please.
Councilman Baker, can you try talking to us again?
Yes. No, I have nothing left. It's already been spent. So the balance of mine has been transferred to the Cherokee Nation Education Corporation. At least it should have been.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
balance community assistance.
Okay. Mr. Evans, can you step out and see where Ms. Fulbright is? Yes, Councilman Baker.
I move we take Janelle's other 1,000 and give it to war company.
Don't go there. Ms. Fulbright? We're waiting on you.
Well, I'm
sorry, she still hasn't got it figured out, so what do we do?
Make a motion to take a 5-minute recess.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those approved? All right, well, 5-minute recess. Be back here. Don't go too far. I have a motion with community assistance from Councilwoman Fulbright.
Yes, I move that if the check hasn't been cut to pay the second money to Marble City, I want to redirect it
to
River Ceremonial Grounds.
For $1,000?
Yes.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Is it clear, Mr. Evans?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I have a motion to adjourn from Councilman Baker. Second from Mr. Crittenden. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those, we are adjourned.